Good morning from beautiful Brisbane, Australia. How are you this morning? It's a marvellous Monday morning. Yes. We're here to start a new week, and to help us out, we're going to have a look at, actually, the infographics just disappeared. My cat's deleted the title, and being Monday morning, my brain's just gone offline. Where are we at? What's going to happen? If you're here for the first time, welcome. It's fantastic to have you with me. If you're here for the replay, do a hashtag replay and let me know what you've gained out of this morning's Facebook Live. And if you're on YouTube, remember to hit subscribe for when all the latest videos are released. I want to start this week with being able to help you with understanding the signs of fear of abandonment. Now, why would we do this? Why would we want to have a look at this? Because when we go into new relationships, and they are important in stage 3 of recovery from complex PTSD, these things will come up in one way, shape or form or another. And even in relationships that we have in day-to-day life, they can definitely come up, and they're all going to come up around our attachment type. So often with complex PTSD, our attachment personality type is disorganized. Okay, it's one of the things that happen because we don't have a secure attachment. And without the secure attachment, we are going to have things around having a fear of abandonment, especially if we weren't nurtured by our mum from 5 and under at a really, really young age, when we had no language for any of this. Plus, we were in a space where we were supposed to be nurtured, loved, feel secure, and everything that goes with that. Everything that you picture of a mum with a child and what's happening at that point in time. So we can most definitely have fear of abandonment. As an adult, I'm sorry, I thought, it's the other phone. I do apologise. So we're going to look at these, and we're going to look at what we can do in response to overcoming our fear of abandonment as well. So the first one is believing we are unworthy and unlovable. Now, if you picture that period of time of 0 to 5, if you haven't been able to develop a secure attachment, apart from fear being the primary response from the vagus nerve, that's where it developed, then we are also, as adults, going to believe we are unworthy and unlovable, okay? So we're the ones that have to take hold of this and develop feelings within ourselves that we are lovable and that we are worthy of love, all right? So how are we going to do this? We're going to be honest with ourselves, and we're going to start listening to the people around us who tell us how wonderful we are, how kind we are, how caring, compassionate, understanding. And we're going to hook into that feeling inside of us, and we're going to let it grow larger and larger and larger, because we never knew it as a child. So we've got to, as an adult, be willing to feel that emotion inside of us, okay? Without community and without others in our life, without the connectedness, we can't go through recovery. We won't be able to go through recovery. It's scientific evidence as well that we need to have other people around us. And I remember the exact moment where I sat in a chair when I was still not able to talk very much, and I went, well, I've listened to everybody, for years, and all the voices in my mind that developed from, in being in my family, and none of it's worked. Okay, So now I'm going to start believing the people who are around me now as an adult. And if someone says something really nice to me, I'm going to take it on board and I'm going to let myself feel those emotions instead of shutting them down. So our primary response will be to shut it down and dispute what somebody else is saying to us in our own mind talk, because we've never known it. So as adults, we choose to want to know it, all right? We choose that we are going to be safe to feel those emotions now. We have a hypersensitivity to criticism. Yes, we do. Okay? Because we walk around in hypo or hyper and arousal, and with our muscles held so tightly and holding on, it's that, and the shallow breathing that goes with it, we really worry about being criticised. It feels like if somebody criticises me, my whole world will fall apart. That the shame that's inside of me will be so overwhelming that I will not be able to continue to be seen in public. That's how strong this is, okay? So to take baby steps towards being able to take on board some productive criticism, we have to be willing to sit down and own what's happening for us, inside of us, emotionally, and we need to determine who are the safe people in our lives, so the people that we trust, that we can go to and say, listen, somebody said this about me. Can you tell me if you can see if that's true, untrue? Can you tell me if I need to take on board any of this or not? And the reason why we're doing this is because there's 20% of our life that we don't see, all right? So I want to have people around me that will tell me the truth, okay? And I don't mean people who want to tell you the truth just so they can take great pleasure in stripping parts away from you. You want people who will tell you the truth, who build you up, okay? So I have 3 friends that I go to that I can say, listen, this is what's happening. Is this true or not? And what it does is build into us the truth of what's happening around us, the truth of safe people, okay? We can trust their opinion. And it builds a resiliency in us as well to be able to go out into the world. It's the most practical example I can give you is I woke up Saturday morning and I got this message from a faceless person on Facebook, so there was no profile picture, and they said Aussie White Ptsd, and I literally burst out laughing because I'm like, if this person only knew half of what I've had to go through and overcome, they know I'd just sit here and laugh when somebody called me a name. I mean, seriously, get with it. So this is why, sorry, I'm still laughing at it. It's like, why would you waste your time sending me something like this? So, report to Facebook, delete, block, let's move on, have the best day. Once upon a time, though, if I'd received anything like that, it would have devastated me and I would have wanted to hide away, for weeks on end, because I would have had it in my mind for forever. Is this true or not? Okay? Is what this person's saying about me true? Is there something about me that I can't see and it's true? And the continual loop in my brain would have just been driving me nuts, okay? So we need people, we need the connection around us to support us, as in positive support and feedback. People pleasing. Okay, let's all stick our hands up. We all do this, okay? And we do it out of this fear of abandonment. And when we do it, we don't have our voice. Okay, we won't stand up and say, hey, how you're treating me, that's not right. And we do people pleasing because there is part of us that hopes that that person will see us, that will see us for who we are, for who I am. There's actually a whole raft of reasons why we do it, but the first step of breaking free of people pleasing is to go and read the book Boundaries by Cloud and Townsend and understand that boundaries are not about keeping people out, okay? Boundaries are a multi-dimensional concept, and we need to know each part of the concept so that we can have an internal healthy dialogue and the ability to see what a healthy boundary is, and that other people's opinions of me, especially people that don't know me, are none of my business. But not only are they none of my business, it's like you have no idea who I am and the path I've had to walk to get here, okay? We also need to do the opposite action of people pleasing, which is sitting down and going, okay, I'm acting out of an old emotional wound. What do I need to do to sit here and go, no? One of the most important things that we can as parents is teach our children the word no, and then sit down and say, but where can I? All right, so as an adult, I have to learn and have the ability to say no, but in this situation, where can I? So what is negotiable? What isn't negotiable in this situation within this relationship? And if it's somebody who's far, far away out of your immediate circle, then yeah, they're of no consequence whatsoever. But I can work through my fear of abandonment. And one of the things that's good to look at too is, where am I afraid, or am I afraid that I am going to abandon who I am as well? All right. Now remember, everything that we talk about too here has a neurobiological aspect that we need to be aware of, so that we're not working against our own brain's response that was developed in childhood. And this next one, can I just say that I have recently become so aware that I do this in order to keep me safe. Looking for what's wrong in relationships. Do you know that when we come out of adverse childhood experiences, out of the trauma, we do this. We look for what's wrong in order that I'm going to keep me safe if it happens. But as an adult now, I need to know that if something goes wrong in the relationship, it's manageable. No matter what, it's manageable because I'm able to feel how I feel, and I'm able to work out where I'm going to go from here. So this recently happened to me, so I speak from a place of totally understanding this, where I was lied to, where someone made choices without even considering me, and it really hurt me. I went through the whole grieving, this really hurts, that I had one thought in my mind about where this was going or what was happening. They've acted totally different. What happened was, when I allowed myself to feel how damn painful it was in my heart, I was also able to stand up and go, okay, that's their choice. This is who I am. Where am I going with my life? Okay? And if you're a person of faith, include that intimate space of love that you have and how powerful that love is, and know that no matter what, we've got this together, and we are able to have the strength to keep moving forward and not have that keep going around and around in our mind. We can be happy, and we can also be happy for the other person irrespective of the choices they make. Sometimes too, because we've spent many, many years observing other people, we can actually see the choices that that person's making, and that the road or the choice that they're making is going to lead down the path of death, darkness and decrease instead of life, light and increase. And we go, okay, maybe that's just their journey for this point in time, and it's really none of my business, okay? What other people are doing is none of my business. Where we connect together is where we grow together, all right? Actually, I like that. Where we connect together, we grow together, because we do, and we will begin to feel safe in relationships as well. Jealousy and difficulty trusting. And yes, I hate jealousy with a passion. I do. And it will come up because of what's happened in the past, develop that fear of abandonment. So what we can do when we're having emotions that we either don't like or they're not healthy for us is go to Google and look up what is the opposite of this word. So for me, I can go and look up what is the opposite of jealousy. And you will find, because if you go to a thesaurus, there is a multitude of words that will be antonyms or the opposites. And then what we do is pick one. Okay? So if you look up the opposite of jealousy, one of the words is contentment. So what I do is do some deep, slow breathing and feel the sense of contentment within me, because it's bigger and it's greater than the negative, which is the jealousy, okay? It's not about anybody else at all. It's simply about fostering within myself the healthy stuff, all right? I can't change the fear that developed in my vagus nerve, but what I can do is change what's happening today. So remember, go in, Google the opposite of this word, and then pick the antonym that suits you, and then develop that feeling within yourself. Right? And you can do this. I've done this for quite a number of years now, and it works. All right? Problems with intimacy. When I read this, I was like, well, how can we apply this? How can we see this? And the problems with intimacy come down to us being willing to go, okay, where am I keeping somebody out that is safe for me to let in that bit more? And as we go through recovery, we begin to work out, it's like the onion, okay? It's the layers. How many layers will I let that person in? How many layers is it safe to let that person in? And we do it a bit at a time in order to overcome any problems with intimacy, and we communicate with each person. So on Saturday, I was sitting down talking to a guy, happily married with kids, etc., etc., and I went, well, I need to know what I feel comfortable with here. And I was actually verbal about the fact, listen, I need you not to hug me. Hugging for me is something that will promote the sensory overwhelm in my brain. And I also, for me, wanted to let them know that, okay, we're sitting here having a conversation which I enjoyed because, let's not go into why. It was on history and women in history, and I enjoy that. But I also I don't know this person, and I want to feel safe. All right, so I was verbal in what in what I said and what I will and won't do, what I do and don't like. And the marvelous thing is when we do this sort of thing and we're with people who care, even though we don't know them, they honour that. The next day that this person saw me, they just dropped by and they just gave me a fist pump, said, "G'day, how you going?" and kept walking. Do you know what? It is the most amazing feeling to have somebody honour and respect and have listened to what you feel comfortable with and what you don't. All right? So when you're developing intimacy, you want to know that the person who you're speaking to is actually listening to you. And if they're not, then you want to take a step back and go, right, if they're not listening to me, they're not a safe person, okay? And apply this in your actual close, real intimate, the people who are very close to you, those relationships. They're the people that are safe. They're the people who will listen to you and honour and respect where you are at in recovery, all right? Problems with intimacy is not about sex, all right? It's about intimacy in your daily relationships. We have a history of partners who cheat and or leave the relationship. Okay, let's... This has happened to me so many times, and I don't mean, like hundreds. I simply mean that when I've gone into a relationship, the person that I ultimately choose does cheat. So I'm working on this. I'm working on developing my secure attachment so that I no longer choose insecure people. People who cheat are insecure, and I don't know about you, but for me, it's certainly hard to wrap my head around this. But they do act out of a wound of insecurity, okay? So it's not about us, the cheating's not about us, it's about them being unable to discipline themselves through the temptations of day-to-day life, all right? If they can't say no, it's because they have an inner wound of insecurity that needs to be healed, all right? And there's nothing we can do about that, about them, about their wound. But what we can do is go, okay, I want to keep looking at myself and I want to develop my secure attachment so that I don't choose people like that in my life anymore. And I'm laughing because I sit here and I go, oh my goodness, I can just see it so clearly. But what I will do now is sit down and go, right, what is the wound inside of me that I'm avoiding because I pick insecure people, okay? And the hard part about this is they seem confident on the outside, okay? That's the mind-boggling part for me, is they seem confident on the exterior. So it's the interior. And this is why we don't rush into relationships. We take our time because over time we really see what somebody is like, right? Attaching to a new partner quickly. I can tell you, yes, I have been guilty of this. I didn't understand it. I had absolutely no knowledge of it. I didn't understand it was to do with a fear of abandonment. And the other side of this, which is super, super important, and this is gold, okay? Because I have done hours upon hours of research about relationships, about, for me, men and women in relationships, about men, about how men operate in relationships. I think you understand. I've spent a very, very long time trying to find the answers to this, all right? And it's only recently that I've actually been able to pull together a few pieces of information from different areas to understand that how, not only how do I not attach to somebody too quickly, but what is the process in a relationship in order that I can discipline myself to go, no, this is the healthy approach to a relationship, okay? So the healthiest approach to a new relationship is to understand that developing a friendship first is of the highest priority, and that friendship will take time. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful when we meet someone new and we connect. It's brilliant. And we go, yes, we have a lot in common. But over time, day-to-day life can, get in the road, for want of a better analogy. And we go, right, what happened to that person? Are they still in my life or not? And it's not about us making all the effort to make sure it works. It's about us sitting back and letting the process of life happen. If the person stays around, great. If not, then they weren't going to be part of our lives for forever, and we need to be able to be willing to let that go. Okay, sorry it was such a long one this morning, but we need this practical information. We need to understand what's happening for us in order that we can change the internal dialogue. We can see our outer behaviours, go in and examine what we can do for us internally, and take back the power in our day-to-day life to direct our future. Okay, if you have any questions or comments, please feel more than welcome to leave them down below, and I will always do my best to get back ASAP and answer, or do the research that it requires so that I can give you an answer. Have the most gorgeous Monday if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, have a gorgeous Sunday night. Thanks for being with me. I really appreciate you. And I will see you again tomorrow morning for another Facebook Live, YouTube video, and we will keep moving forward from there. And you're always welcome to ask questions. Okay, bye for now.